And welcome back to more Pikmin! So last time, we finished exploring the Forest Navel, so this time we're headed to the distant spring. So as the name would suggest, there is a lot of water in the distant spring, so we're mostly going to be relying on blue Pikmin. We also need yellow Pikmin because there's a bombable wall right near the landing site over here that takes about 9 bombs. First of all, I want to take the blue Pikmin and collect 2 ship parts. One is over here on this ledge. This we'll be getting in a little bit, but first of all, I want to prioritize working on this bridge. Over here are some shearwigs. These are actually easier to fight than the Forest Navel, because if they land in the water, they start losing health. Their health will automatically deplete in the water, so they'll start flying like so. So it's best to just kind of lure them into the water and then start throwing Pikmin to make things easier. In general, actually, I do find the Distant Spring a little bit easier to manage than the Forest Navel, mostly because we have fewer major boss battles and less hazards to worry about, even though there are still some scary moments. So with about 60 Pikmin building the bridge, the rest are going to be collecting this ship part. To get over here, we can't throw the Pikmin directly, we have to toss them up onto this little ledge here, and then we can lead them to the end of the path. You need 20 Pikmin for this, but obviously you could bring more, but I find it more manageable to bring smaller numbers. In this case, my advice would be to dismiss them near the end of the path, so they don't fly off the edge, like so. Not all of them latched onto it, so let's try this again. And there we go. And they all fell off. I found the repair-type bolt. This robotic marvel can fix just about anything in the ship that's broken. That's good, because I get terribly bored fixing little glitches. So sometimes they can seamlessly carry it past this ledge, other times they fall off, meaning you have to toss them up onto this little ledge and hope there's enough room for them to latch on. Luckily there was, so no big deal. Over here, there's a new type of Bulborb, the Bulbear. These have more health and are generally tougher to defeat, but the same strategies still apply. You can swarm them from behind, you can toss Pikmin on their backs, or you could use bombs. In this case, it takes 3 bombs instead of 2. There's the yellow Wollywogs. They behave very similarly to the Wollywogs in the Forest Navel. They just look a little bit different because they're not underground. I found my massage machine. Put this right down in the lower back area and let it go to work. I can't wait until I get it installed again, as my lower lumbar region has been paining me ever since the crash. Sweet relief. This is another optional part, and luckily for us, we don't need to fight this guy quite yet, or at all, because they go around. So luckily for us, we can just leave this one alone. Repair-type bolt. This looks like an ordinary bolt, but it is actually a repair robot. I have now recovered 20 out of 30 parts. If I can find just 9 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. So, there are 10 parts in the region, and we need all 10 to get to the final area for one more ship part. Other than that, my goal is to actually end up with roughly 5 of the ship parts today. I'm not sure if I'll get all 5, but I'd like to. By the way, this Wollywog is not a threat. By the way, their sound effects are actually messed up in this version. I think the Bulborb sound effects are also different. I read somewhere that they're the same sound, but they're just sped up, basically, in this version, specifically on Wii. So yeah, certain enemies do sound a bit different. Massage machine. I've been walking so much lately, I'm really looking forward to using this. I have now recovered 21 out of 30 parts. If I can find just 8 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. So yeah, the massage machine is optional, and we actually are going to get a second optional part as well today, if all goes well. It's kind of interesting having so many optional ship parts, making it a little bit less stressful to try to get everything, since there's a little bit of leeway as long as you get the required few. And there's more than enough to just get the required ones and skip the optional ones. Like the Nova Blaster in the first area, we were able to still get enough ship parts. Here is a new type of enemy, the Swooping Snitch Bug. They pick up Pikmin and then try to plant them back into the ground. So what you want to do is throw a Pikmin at them to knock them down, and then swarm until they're defeated. They actually can appear in other areas that we've already visited. If you spend too long, or actually, if you spend a certain amount of days in the Forest of Hope, they'll start appearing there. So that's why I tend to like to take care of those ship parts first, before they start spawning. There's one more Swooping Snitch Bug to deal with. Luckily, I think it's probably in the second part of the map, so we should be able to avoid it for a little bit, at least. But yeah, it is kind of cool that more enemies start to appear over time in regions. I'm actually not sure if Swooping Snitch Bugs appear in the Forest Navel. I don't remember if any can, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. But yeah, I tend to try to get through areas as soon as possible, while enemies are still defeated and before they respawn, and also before tougher enemies start appearing. This is a Puffy Blowhog, a relative of the Fiery Blowhog, but instead of breathing fire, it just blows away Pikmin, reverting them to buds or leaves. They can't directly hurt Pikmin, but obviously if you're trying to fight a different enemy and Pikmin get blown away, that's really bad. So up here is another optional part. The number of Pikmin needed is 10, so we're literally 1 short. This one's a little bit tricky to get, specifically on Wii because of swarming. As usual, swarming with the C stick and throwing with the control stick and A means you can control this swarm of Pikmin a little bit easier, I think, but it's still not too bad. We need 10 Pikmin for this, so we have more than enough. They all missed for some reason. I think it's because I'm too close to this wall. Alright, there we go. And with that, this is... I found my UV lamp. The only problem with this handheld light is that it can be too bright at times. I have to remember to wear my sun visor whenever I look into it. So the Puffy Blowhog will leave us alone at this point. So let's explore a little bit more off into the distance. I don't think the other Snitch Bug is nearby, so we should be good to go. Let's take the blue Pikmin into the water and see what we can find. There's another enemy here that's actually rather interesting. We'll be fighting this a little bit later, but this egg here will disappear after day 15, as a heads up. So if you do want to fight it, you have to fight it before then. UV lamp. This handy light is great for tanning, but it doesn't seem to have any relation to the dolphin's flight capabilities. I doubt that it will affect my escape from this planet. Perhaps there are other parts like this as well. I have now recovered 22 out of 30 parts. If I can find just 7 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. Alright, so we have a new type of enemy, the Water Dumple. I think these are actually related to Bulborbs, and are kind of difficult to fight, because they tend to group up in large numbers like this, so I am going to play it a little bit safe and fight them with Olimar. Luckily they don't have too much health, but this is an example of a Puffy Blowhog being a problem, because if you're actually trying to fight these enemies and it's getting in the way, it can make it much harder to actually focus on your main objective. Luckily Olimar cannot be blown down, so we should be good to go here. Not the fastest way to deal with this, but the safest method. Yeah, they will lunge out of the water to throw Pikmin off, but outside of that, they're relatively easy to defeat with a swarm or by tossing Pikmin at them. So just to demonstrate, the Puffy Blowhog cannot affect Olimar, only Pikmin. There's also grass nearby here, so if we lose too many flowers, we should still be good to go. So to defeat a Puffy Blowhog, toss Pikmin at it, and if enough Pikmin are on it, it will start to fall. Once it falls, swarm, and hope for the best. This is actually a really bad spot, because the Pikmin trying to carry things back. Oh, there it goes. That wasn't too bad, actually. One cycle, because it didn't fall very quickly. I found my interstellar radio. Not only does it emit a constant SOS signal, it also broadcasts voices from space that will brighten up my moments of boredom. The dolphin, while comfortable, becomes quite a lonely place in the depths of the night. So, before we start to carry that back, I am going to try to get more flower Pikmin. This is a really awkward spot to try to swarm because it's a bit of a hill, meaning Pikmin can fall down the hill, like that green leaf down there. But I think I actually have mostly flowers, so it should just be the one. So with that, we're only going to take the part back, not the spoils, because I'm not sure what direction they're gonna go. The ship part tends to be taken right, facing this way, and this is a much better direction to go. They should be fast enough that the Wollywogs will leave them alone, so I think I'm good to go to leave them be. But in the meantime, I'm going to start working on a few more ship parts. I actually don't know if I'm gonna get any more today. If not, it's not too big of a deal, but it would be nice. I also am concerned about the remaining Snitch Bug, so I might hunt it down to try to take it down in advance so it doesn't get in the way during a battle. There it is. So yeah, just toss Pikmin at it, and then be very careful not to accidentally wake up an enemy as well. So my depth perception is really bad here, clearly. So I'm gonna lure it over here, away from the enemies, and start throwing. Interstellar radio. This part will send out a daily SOS signal. I have so little time remaining though that I have no option but to continue my search rather than waiting for a rescue party. Having to collect every part is a bit overwhelming, but I get the impression not all parts are needed to fly the ship. I've now recovered 23 out of 30 parts. If I can find just 6 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. So, there we go. Yeah, once it's staggered, just get as many Pikmin onto it as possible, and then it can't fly. Here we have another cannon beetle, actually, surrounded by fire geysers, so we can't go that way. Instead, here are a bunch of enemies. So if you can get them to fight you one at a time, that's great. Like so. Trying to fight a Shearwig in a group is a little bit scary, because again, they can gain some level of invincibility when eating a Pikmin. So just to be safe, I'm going to do this instead. Just one at a time. So in the meantime, there's this wall here. There's another wall over here that we might have to break. I actually don't know if we do. But to get a head start on tomorrow's activities, I'm gonna start working on this bridge. I actually have one more bomb Pikmin in my group, so I might actually just use a bomb on this wall to try to speed things up a little bit. Yeah, I think we're only gonna get the 4 ship parts today, but that's still not too bad. I actually might be using a glitch, like a speedrun trick, to get apart a little bit faster for the sake of getting more done in a day. That enemy was very close to my group, a little bit too close for comfort. Actually, we should just take all these. Blue Pikmin are the best for carrying things back here because they will cut through the water and avoid all of these enemies. So keep that in mind to use a lot of blue Pikmin when transporting ship parts. Otherwise, you will have to fight everything, and that's not great, especially because these are also prone to the crushing glitch. So yeah, for the sake of just making everything a lot easier, I would recommend using blue Pikmin for most things here. A lot of blue Pikmin didn't latch onto the wall, but that's okay. So I'm gonna tear this down for tomorrow. In the meantime, I think I actually have enough time to dart over here really quickly and fight these enemies. At least a couple of them. I want to take down at least a couple just for the sake of time. It's not too big of a deal, we can fight these tomorrow if needed, but it would be a nice little time save. I'm not expecting to get the remaining 6 parts in one day, even though I know it's possible to get all 10 in one day. But I would like to get a head start on a few things at least. We have plenty of time to get back to the ship, by the way. We're also not going to fight the candy beetle today because we do not have enough time for that. I'm playing this a little bit risky, actually, in terms of time. Luckily, again, we can call Pikmin from really far away in this version, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem. There are a couple more ship parts nearby. I actually don't know if we need to tear down this wall over here. The one beyond it, we do need to break at some point. But yeah, not too bad. A very productive first day in the distant spring. "9 days since impact. There appears to be a large cluster of parts here. If my calculations are correct, then I should be able to recover virtually all of my missing ship parts. But not quite all of them. Unfortunately, there still seem to be some pieces that remain unaccounted for. I must find 6 more ship parts to further increase the dolphin's range." No Pikmin raised, but no Pikmin lost either, so that's good. 7 parts remaining, 6 in the distant spring, so we'll be heading back there next time. And with that being said, we are going to call it here for now. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Pikmin.